Most people spend their entire lives chasing money, yet very few ever truly understand it. They wake up every morning, go to work, get paid, pay bills, and repeat the cycle like a program that's been running too long without an update. They believe the rich are just lucky or born into privilege, or that money somehow flows to those who already have it. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. Getting rich doesn't start with money at all. It starts with mindset. The rich don't think like the poor. They don't move through life with the same fears, the same doubts, or the same mental limits. They've learned to train their mind first and their money second. When you believe rich people are simply lucky, you close the door on possibility. You convince yourself that success is out of your control. You start thinking the world is unfair, that you can never escape your circumstances. But that belief system is poison. It keeps you exactly where you are, stuck, stagnant, safe, and broke. The truth is, every rich person you admire once stood exactly where you are right now, with no money, no network, and no roadmap. What separated them wasn't a miracle. It was a decision to think differently. They stopped asking, why is life so hard? And started asking, what can I build that will make life easier? The average person trades time for money. They show up, they clock in, they work, they get paid, and when they stop working, the money stops too. But the wealthy, they play a different game. They create systems. They build machines. They design ways for money to flow toward them without their constant effort. They understand that time is the most expensive currency of all, and they refuse to sell it cheap. That's why they spend time creating value once and getting paid over and over again. An author writes a book one time, but earns royalties for years. A developer builds an app once, but thousands of people download it daily. A YouTuber records a video once, but it keeps making money every single day. The rich think in systems, not paychecks. If you look around, you'll notice how most people's thoughts about money are controlled by fear. Fear of losing it, fear of spending it, fear of not having enough. They save every penny, they stress over bills, they complain about prices, and they see money as something that's always running away from them. That's why money does run away from them, because it's repelled by fear. The wealthy don't fear money. They study it, they play with it, they move it around, and most importantly, they make it serve them. To the rich, money is a tool, a worker, a soldier, a builder. They give their money jobs. They send it out to create more of itself. That's why even when they lose money, they don't panic. They know how to rebuild because their greatest asset isn't what's in their wallet, it's what's in their mind. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. That's not a cliche, it's a formula. Think about it. If you work 8 hours a day, you can only make money during those hours. But if you build something that works 24/7, a business, an investment, an automated system, then you're making money while you sleep, eat, travel, or even rest. Imagine the difference that creates over years. One person is grinding endlessly, getting tired, frustrated, and stuck in the same place. The other is building leverage, letting time and systems multiply their effort. That's the power of mindset. It changes the way you see opportunity. When you start thinking like the rich, you stop asking for permission to succeed. You realize that the world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards value. You can work 10 hours a day lifting bricks and earn less than someone who spent 1 hour solving a problem with their mind. That's not unfair. It's leverage. The rich understand leverage better than anyone. They know their brain is their biggest weapon, not their hands. They spend time learning, reading, observing, and strategizing because they know one smart decision can save them years of hard work. Every poor person who becomes rich goes through a moment of awakening, a point where they realize that the job they have will never buy them freedom. It might pay for survival, but it will never pay for dreams. Freedom doesn't come from a salary, it comes from ownership. The rich own things. Assets, ideas, systems, influence. They don't just rent their time to someone else. And once you understand this shift, your entire life starts to change. You begin to see money differently. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, you start asking, how can I afford this? You start seeing every expense as a possible investment, every problem as an opportunity, and every skill as a potential gold mine. But here's the trick most people miss. Being rich isn't about greed, it's about growth. It's not about stacking money, it's about expanding your capacity. When you learn to think like a builder, you start looking for ways to multiply impact, not just income. That's why real wealth isn't just measured in dollars, but in control of your time, your energy, your environment, and your choices. When you're rich in mindset, you're no longer a slave to the system. You create your own. The problem is most people never challenge the beliefs they grew up with. They were told money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are selfish. Just get a safe job. So they grow up building cages out of those words. And every time they get close to breaking out, those old beliefs pull them back in. The rich broke that programming. They stopped letting fear, culture, or family dictate their limits. They rewired their thinking to see the world as a playground of possibilities. That's why they notice opportunities that others walk past every single day. It's not that opportunity doesn't exist. It's that most people aren't trained to see it. Getting rich starts long before you have a single dollar in your pocket. It starts the moment you stop blaming, stop complaining, and start creating. It's the shift from I can't to how can I? It's realizing that the person who changes your life isn't your boss, your government, or your luck. It's you. Your thoughts build your habits build your results, and your results build your wealth. Once you master your mindset, the money follows. That's why the first and most powerful step to getting rich isn't about chasing cash. It's about changing consciousness. The rich don't wait for chances, they create them. They don't see money as an end goal. It's just a byproduct of solving problems, serving people, and adding value. When your mind begins to operate at that level, money stops being something you chase and starts being something that chases you. And that's the real secret. The second step to getting rich isn't saving. It's scaling. Saving can protect you, but scaling can set you free. The truth is, you can't save your way to wealth. You can save enough to survive, but not enough to thrive. Every dollar sitting quietly in your bank account is actually losing value every single day. Inflation eats it like a slow fire, and before you even realize it, that safe money you've been hoarding has already lost its strength. The rich understand this. That's why they don't keep their money still. They make it move. They don't just save, they multiply. They look at every dollar like a seed, not a trophy. Because the purpose of a seed is not to be admired. It's to be planted. If you earn $100 and save $20, that's discipline. But if you use that $100 to create something that earns $200 next month, that's freedom. That's the difference between being careful and being clever. Rich people use money as a tool to buy more tools. They invest in skills, in ideas, in systems that work even when they don't. That's why their money seems to grow like magic. Because they're constantly building engines that run on their creativity, not just their labor. The poor save to stay comfortable. The rich invest to stay unstoppable. Let's break it down. There are two ways to think about growth: linear and exponential. Linear growth is what most people do. They trade time for money, hour after hour, paycheck after paycheck. It's predictable, but painfully slow. Exponential growth, however, happens when you build something that scales. Imagine you run a small food stall. You make $50 a day working 10 hours. If you stop working, your income drops to zero. But if you turn that recipe into a franchise, teach others to sell it, and take a percentage from every sale, you've just scaled. Now, whether you're there or not, the system works for you. That's what the rich do. They stop being the worker and start being the architect. Scaling doesn't just mean starting a big business. It can be anything that multiplies results without multiplying effort. A designer who sells digital templates instead of taking custom orders, that's scaling. A teacher who creates an online course instead of tutoring one-on-one, that's scaling. A writer who sells books instead of writing articles for others, that's scaling. The principle is simple. If you're doing something that only pays you once, you're staying small. If you're doing something that can pay you 100 times for one effort, you're growing rich. And here's the most exciting part. Scaling doesn't require huge money to begin with. It starts with creativity and courage. The internet has leveled the field. You can reach millions from your phone. You can sell, teach, design, or entertain. You can build a personal brand, share your skills, or sell your products worldwide. That's not just opportunity. That's leverage. The rich always look for leverage because leverage is how you win the game without breaking your back. The poor say, I can't afford to start. The rich say, how can I start with what I have? That question alone changes the outcome. But scaling isn't only about multiplying money. It's about multiplying time. Think about how most people live. They work all day and come home tired, waiting for the weekend. They never realize that they can design systems to earn, even while they rest. When you build a business, a digital product, a rental property, a YouTube channel, or even an automated store, you're not just creating income, you're buying back your time. And that's the real currency of wealth. The poor chase money, the rich chase freedom. When you start scaling, your mindset changes too. You stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a creator. Instead of asking, how can I afford this? You start asking, how can I create this? You stop fearing risk because you realize risk is just the price of progress. Every dollar you release into something valuable has the potential to return with friends. Think about it like blood in your body. If it stops moving, you die. Money works the same way. You need to keep it flowing, in and out, strategically, purposefully. But the rhythm of wealth isn't random. The rich don't just spend money, they direct it. Every movement has intention. Every decision has logic. When they buy something, it's either adding value, building leverage, or strengthening connections. They don't buy just to consume, they buy to compound. That's the difference between the rich and everyone else. The rich make money dance to their beat. The poor often live with a scarcity mindset. They fear money leaving their hands, thinking it'll never come back. But the rich live with an abundance mindset. They understand that money is infinite, not limited. It's always circulating, changing pockets, changing names, changing forms. And when you learn to participate in that flow with confidence and creativity, money starts to find its way to you naturally. The energy you give to money, your emotions, your beliefs, your habits, determines how it moves toward or away from you. If you treat money like something to fear, it will avoid you. If you treat it like a trusted partner, it will work with you. That's why the rhythm of wealth begins in your mind. You can't flow with money if you think like a prisoner of it. People who constantly say, I can't afford it, trap themselves in a loop of lack. But people who ask, how can I afford it? Unlock creativity. The question changes your energy. It moves you from victim to visionary. It forces your brain to find solutions instead of excuses. And that's where the rhythm begins, when your thoughts start dancing with possibility. Look closely at the wealthy, not just the ones with luxury cars, but those who have time, freedom, and peace. You'll notice a pattern. They're always in motion. They're building, learning, connecting, investing, experimenting. They're never stuck in one stream of income, one mindset, or one opportunity. They have multiple flows. One business feeds another. One investment supports another. One idea opens doors for the next. Their wealth moves in loops, circles, and waves. They understand that the more connections their money has, the more alive it becomes. That's what financial rhythm really is. Connection. Every dollar you earn should connect to something that earns you more. If your money comes from one source, a single job, a single client, a single idea, you're standing on a fragile bridge. One shake and it all falls apart. But if your money flows through multiple streams, you create balance. You create security. You create freedom. You can breathe without fear because you know that if one stream slows, the others will keep flowing. That's how the rich sleep peacefully at night. And let's be honest, rhythm isn't built overnight. It takes time to tune yourself into it. It's like learning to dance. At first, you'll be clumsy. You'll invest in things that don't work. You'll lose money. You'll doubt yourself. But that's part of the rhythm too, because rhythm isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. The rich don't quit when they miss a beat. They adjust their steps and keep moving. Every mistake teaches them the timing of the market, the pulse of opportunity, and the tempo of risk. Over time, they develop a sixth sense for money. They can feel when to hold, when to release, when to invest, and when to pivot. That's mastery. Now here's where most people go wrong. They chase the amount, not the flow. They think being rich means having more zeros in their bank account. But numbers can lie. What's the use of having millions if your lifestyle depends on keeping them locked away? That's not wealth. That's imprisonment. Imprisonment. True wealth gives you movement. It gives you choices. It lets you say a no when you want to, and a yes when you choose to. It's about having your money serve your life, not the other way around. Money should be your servant, not your master. But most people reverse the roles. They become slaves to their salaries, slaves to their possessions, slaves to their image. They stop flowing because they're too afraid to lose what they've gained. That fear kills innovation. It kills creativity. The rich stay rich because they keep playing, not recklessly, but fearlessly. They take calculated risks because they trust their rhythm. They know that even if they lose today, their mindset and flow will rebuild tomorrow. Here's a powerful truth. Money flows to where it's respected, not worshipped. When you worship money, you give it control. But when you respect it, you give it direction. You start seeing it as a teammate in your mission, not as your master. You don't waste it, but you don't fear it either. You study it, guide it, and use it to create value. That's how you become a conductor of wealth, directing the orchestra of your finances with calm confidence. Every rich person's rhythm looks different. For some, it's real estate. For others, it's business, digital assets, or content creation. The rhythm isn't about what you do, it's about how you do it. It's the harmony between your purpose and your money. When your money flows in alignment with what you love, it grows faster and feels lighter. You stop feeling like you're chasing wealth and start feeling like you're dancing with it. So if you want to get rich, don't just think about how much you need. Think about how your money moves. Where does it go when it leaves you? Does it return? Does it multiply? Does it build something? Your rhythm will decide your riches. Because in the end, money is not the goal. Flow is. And when your flow becomes unstoppable, your wealth becomes inevitable. So if you've listened to everything till now, understand this. The road to wealth isn't paved with luck. It's built with vision. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it will give you everything if you're bold enough to create value, take risks, and think beyond survival. Stop waiting for the right time. There's no perfect moment. The clock is already ticking. And every second you hesitate, someone else is turning your idea into reality. You don't need permission to start. You don't need a rich background, fancy degrees, or investors. You just need courage. The courage to begin, to fail, to learn, and to rise again. Tell yourself this: I will not work for money forever. I will make money work for me. Say it again louder, till your doubts go silent. Because the moment you believe it, your life will start to change. Don't just dream of being rich. Decide to be. Dreamers wait, but decision makers create. The rich don't come from comfort. They come from commitment. So build, move, fail, learn, repeat. And keep your rhythm alive. You were not born to struggle your entire life. You were not born. You were born to create, to lead, to grow, and to live free. The world is full of money. It's just waiting for someone brave enough to go claim it. So stand tall, fix your mindset, and go build your wealth. Because the question is no longer, can I get rich? The real question is, will I stay brave enough to earn the life I deserve?